Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday, January 24th Park and Rec meeting. We think this is setting a record in my 19 years on the Park and Rec Commission. This is the most in attendance. So obviously, we know we have good work going on in town, and we have lots of wonderful things that we like. So we're looking forward to the presentation from BNL. Why don't we first start with everyone? We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So that everybody knows, we have different exits. We have the exit, the entranceway where everyone came down. If there happens to be a fire, we also have the back stairwell. And we have our wonderful orange police here to support us if anything like that happens. So we're good. Let's start with introducing ourselves. I'm Jim O'Connor. I'm the chair of the Park and Rec.
Matt Shaw, brand new member.
Welcome, Matt.
Dan Sapatka.
Debbie Davis.
Bill Nicoletti.
Chuck Stackpole.
Steve Besputa.
Jack Pritchard.
Deb Satonic.
Dan Lynch.
Thank you, everyone. We will start with any public dialogue that has to do with, not to do with Fred Wolf Park, anything other that's not on the agenda. That's what I like. There you go. Okay. Questions from first we have approval of minutes, our November minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any additions, corrections, deletions? We had Jim Ronay, Chuck, and Jack were not here. Yeah. Going once, going twice. All approve? Aye. We're good. Okay. That's that. Second thing we're going to say beforehand is today we received some news, and I just want to first, before we dive into everything, is say thank you. Jim Ronay has officially given the first selectman his resignation from Park and Rec. And Jim has been, obviously, within this town, he is one of the most dignified, wonderful human beings we've all ever met. And we were so lucky. He helped guide us over the last 5 to 7 years, right? I think he was on. Right, Deb? Was that about right? Yeah, and Jim, obviously, his stature in our community is very important, and we just appreciate all that he has done for the town, but especially Park and Rec and what we have. But with that, yeah, let's give a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. But, change does happen, and we get to bring in Matt. So welcome, Matt. We're super excited. Welcome. Don't expect this. Usually it's not standing room only, I'll tell you that. But welcome. Let's go on to the next thing. So we have, that's done. That's done. We are to new business. So we have Dominic from BNL is going to give our presentation. Dominic, are you ready?
Yes.
So,
Coordinate with the IT gentleman.
yeah, he'll help us.
Yep.
You'll take, you're gonna go from right there?
I'll go from right here, yep.
So Dominic did this presentation for our committee. We actually should note, the Fred Wolf Committee, could you please stand up and at least acknowledge yourselves? Our chair, John Carangelo, obviously PJ Shanley, Jeannie, who else? Do we have any? Jack? And myself. Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. BNL came and gave a presentation to all of us about a month. What? Yeah, I'm ready to leave. And gave a presentation a month ago. This is the same exact presentation that we received. And after that, then we'll open it, Dominic. Anything you want for us to do, you just let me know and we'll go from there. It's your show now.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me all right? If I can't, that's fine. I'll speak louder. I've been known to speak loud. A few housekeeping measures to start off with. For the folks that are here, There are sign-in sheets. You don't have to sign in, but for demographic purposes, we have a sign-in sheet so we can kind of get a head count of roughly who's here today. We know we're broadcasting live as well. There are also comment cards. You don't have to make comments tonight if you don't feel comfortable. You can write those down. There's complimentary pens and Post-it notes. Part of the process tonight is we are going to show some concepts. They're not set in stone. We'll get into that later. But you can comment on that. We need input on these measures. So with that, I'll do a little introductions of the three people that are here tonight from BL Companies. I'm Dominic Saltruda. I'm with BL Companies. I'm a landscape architect by trade. Sitting out in the audience right now is Derek Cole. He's my boss. He's also the vice president of operations, and he's the executive director of engineering for BL Companies. And standing to my right is Michael Dion, who's a senior project manager, but more importantly, he's a transportation engineer with BL as well. The three of us have been intimately involved in this project from cradle to grave tonight. We've done or have been on this project since the start, in the inception. So what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to go over the project, the specifics of what we are tasked to do by the committee. We're going to present some findings and recommendations to you tonight. We're going to present and review some concepts, and they are that, concepts. Nothing is set in stone. They're just indications of slight enhancements that can be done. And then we're going to listen. We want to collect input. We need input in order to revise that to a single concept that can be moved forward. And then we're going to review the process of where we go from tonight. So we had the purpose of the study. You can read all this stuff. It's to develop a clear vision roadmap for future athletic development in the town of Orange. That was the over-resounding theme that we were developed. How we're going to do that is we reviewed information, we reviewed existing conditions, we engaged community through engagement like tonight, but also through some stakeholder outreach. We developed some recommendations based on engineering, design savvy, some existing master planning, the site itself. And then we're going to provide some recommendations for specific focus of the focus area. And we're going to get into that in a little while, what our focus area exactly was. The timeline where we got to tonight, and I apologize, the moisture that was supposed to be in my mouth is on top of my brow. It's a little warm in here. We did the investigation analysis. It was completed August, October. We started it earlier than that. We performed traffic counts in certain areas. That was done in October. We timed that with some athletic activities that were being done at the park. We performed temporary measures. We saw the necessity to pivot during our study to get the town some actual early measures, and we'll show those tonight and demonstrate how those work. Then we did the committee presentation of our recommendations, and we're at the public workshop tonight. We look to get some input tonight and perform the draft study report by the end of this month, maybe beginning of next month, with a completion sometime February, late February. That's kind of our timeline as of right now. So what do we do first? We needed accurate data in order to understand what was out there. So we flew the site with a drone, UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle. We did it to pick up the areas that were developed outside of any existing photography that was at the time of the beginning of the study. We can utilize online means, but we needed something more accurate so we could actually see what was going on, and we know that it's a living area, developing area, but we use that. Early on, we started to look at the access points. So we developed what's going on out in that area. We developed a temporary measures plan. These are temporary measures that can be implemented at a very reasonable cost by the town to try to control access and provide safe navigation for both pedestrians, bicyclists, and vehicles throughout the site. We worked hand in hand with the committee and with our engineers to develop a plan that can be implemented, and it's a living map or document. It can be adjusted very easily if we find out something's not working correctly out there, and it addressed multiple needs. Then we started looking at the old master plans. We had to understand the focus area, and we'll get into the focus area in a second. And we looked at the goals for the original master plan, and then we actually focused in on a few of them. A park for everyone, improve access and build connections, and incorporate phasings and longevity. We held those three principles true in what we were doing. We did not look at the entire site. We had to look at a focused area. So we looked at the plan in those three concepts, and we started to understand how we can incorporate those either in recommendations or enhancements to the existing area. And we'll show that focus area soon. I'm going to pass it off to Michael Dion to talk a little bit about the engineering aspects of what we did in terms of the analysis and study.
Thanks, Tom. Quick things that we did, yes, I am a traffic and transportation engineer, but I do a lot of planning too, so we like to put on what we call our planner hat. So we're plan engineers, not just engineers. And what we like to do with that is like part of the engineering is we want to make things that are constructible, buildable, and usable. Planners can be very pie in the sky and want to do everything under the sun, but we want to make sure that whatever we do and propose is constructible and can be used by the public. So part of what we did is we reviewed existing traffic data. We conducted some new traffic counts out there. We reviewed the crash history for the last 5 years out in the area. And then one of the critical things we wanted to look at was sight distances out there to make sure getting to and from the park is safe for the public. Looking at the traffic counts that we did take, we did time it for when there was an event going on at the park, so we got some clear data going through. For a full week, we had counts on Hollow Road just to make sure that we got good data. And as you can see, that the traffic does fluctuate throughout the area. While you look at some of these numbers and you see the total daily is 293 in one instance, and the in and out during the peak hours, you've got 126 and 141. Sounds like a lot of vehicles, but typically a two-way roadway can handle 1,700 cars in an hour in each lane. Now, do you want to live on that road? No. But so that I'm just trying to show you how much traffic a roadway could handle. Looking at the average traffic over the course of a day, just an average showing it, it just shows there's a peak around 4 to 5 p.m. That's probably when practices were going on. It was October we did the count, so this is definitely showing when either lacrosse or soccer was going on. One thing that we did look at was the crash history. So just in the general area on Ridge Road and Hollow Road, in that area there, we did find that there were 6 crashes in the last 5 years. No fatalities, which was great, no pedestrian crashes. We also noticed that there was no pattern to the crashes. So we couldn't look at anything and say, oh, this is an issue right here. Like this stop sign is wrong because there's a lot of rear ends or something. So there was nothing there that showed us a pattern. You had a couple of instances you can see down at the bottom. It's probably hard to see, but you've got an instance where a vehicle went off the road. One instance where a car was backing up on Ridge Road and backed into another car. So there's a lot of just random things that we couldn't pinpoint anything that was contributing to the crashes. I mentioned sight distances, and this is critical to make sure that people can get in and out safely. We particularly looked at the Oakview Park driveway, the new driveway out there. We found that there's a couple of, on the image on the right, you see some very mature trees there. Those are in the sight line. So we'll see some of the recommendations we're trying to make later, because we don't want to take down the trees, especially we love the big trees and they're mature, so we want to keep them. And also looking at Oakview at Ridge Road, when you come up to that intersection and you look to the left trying to pull out, there's a lot of trees, a great landscaping that landowner has. So we'd rather not impact that if we don't have to, because it looks like a lot of time and effort and money went into that. So there's a concern taking a left out of Oakview onto Ridge Road. Couple of the things that we want to look at for that is Oakview Drive at the new access road. We want to install what we call a channelizing island or a pork chop, because it does look like a pork chop, because we'd rather have the cars come out of that road onto Oakview and take a right and go around and be able to take the left out, go in and out of Ridge Road up on that other intersection instead of the one where we saw the sightline issues. It's a much safer way to go out, and anybody that doesn't know the neighborhood would be, I think, feel more comfortable going that way and having good sight lines. We're also looking at Ridge Road at Hollow Road, trying to make it more of an attractive entrance to a park. We do show on the right-hand side there some implementation things we could do, kind of make it a boulevard or add an island in the middle of the road coming out, adding some stamped concrete, colored concrete there to just make it a more inviting entrance.
That's me. Thank you. So part of the engineering review, and you're looking at a concept on the right-hand side, but what we want you to know is they are almost like napkin sketches. They're going to look very finished when you guys see these. However, we did run engineering on all of the aspects to make sure anything we show circulation-wise can accommodate bicycles, pedestrians, and obviously emergency vehicles, school buses, and automobiles. This is my favorite slide. All right, we're going to get into the actual concepts now. And I caution everybody because they looked finished. In today's day and age, we don't do a lot of pencil sketches anymore. Everything's done on computers. And these are programming concepts. Nothing is set in stone. They're established for circulation and safety. They're going to look finished. You're going to get a chance to look at them because they're over here as well after we present them up here. They're based on, what do you call it, stakeholder input. We've talked to organizations that utilize the site. We've talked to Public Works. We've talked to public safety realms. We've talked to other facility and operations within the town. We're going to require some input from you guys tonight. We look at existing and anticipated usage themes. These are just the concepts. The recommendations will come after the concept is refined down to one. And I will note now, you're going to see the focus areas in a second. This entire thing is Fred Wolf Park, okay? To orient yourself, you see the words Fred Wolf Park. You see some access points. Don't worry about the access points. They're only defined by the 2013 master plan. That's not set in stone. We know that. Our focus area is not the entire park. If you see on the bottom or mid-left, you can see the playscape. I'll try to identify it. I think I can bring it over. Maybe I can't. It's right here. Just so you understand, our focus area is only this portion right here. We did address the entrance because it was installed. Focus area is here, and then we gave a courtesy to some other points that we talked about today. A, B, and C are those intersections. So there's our focus area. At the top, you see a big, vast area of parking. That's the soccer field parking lot. You see from left to right, you see the playscape. You see an access road to the right-hand side, a small piece of the lacrosse parking lot. You see on the lower side of the playscape, you see a parking lot for the playscape and the new access road that runs down to the south, or north is oriented to the top. So we developed a series of concepts, and we're going to go through those just for this area, but we kept the overall themes. We are not revising a master plan at this time. We're only looking at safe and secure navigation of this one small area of the park. Based on what's there today, what may end up happening in the future. And then we looked at this specific zone only. And these are merely enhancements to make it a more enjoyable, safe and secure circulation pattern and accessibility for everyone. The first one kind of keeps the theme of what's going on now, but what we do is really define the roadways. We start to neck them in. We provide grassed areas, not necessarily curbs, not necessarily pavement. We do organize parking lots. We had a good conversation with the committee and the first selectman about, even if it's what we call unorganized parking, utilizing striping, even on non-bituminous surfaces, if it has to be done more than 1 or 2 times a year. When we first met with the committee out there, I purposely parked a different angle on the parking lot, and everyone who showed up fell in line with what I did, which speaks to whoever does something out there for the first time, everyone follows. And it's not a good organized space within that. We could keep the roadway down to the lacrosse fields, and then we kind of structure and organize the walkways, the crosswalks for pedestrians, to utilize the different use areas within the park or the zone. The second one takes a different look at it. And I'm going to go back for a second because this one basically, we start to segment parking for soccer, parking for other uses, and we start to compartmentalize, which is part of the master plan flavor, so to speak, and enhancements. We take a different angle. We do a more of a sightline interaction with a raised table for the crosswalk to get the kids and pedestrians across. We're implementing walkways, either be stone dust. We're not really defining that right now, but providing those areas so we can actually define the use areas and the use zones, and obviously define parking, and also structure the drive access for people. So when they're coming in, there's a sense of arrival, there's a sense of direction, and they understand that it's not the Wild West coming into the parking lot. The third one takes a different tact, and we actually call it 3, and we're going to show you 3A. We completely separate the parking experience And if you notice at the very top of the screen on all of these, there's some dashed lines in these parking lots. You're going to see dashed lines on all three concepts. They do not hinder an perimeter access road in the future, any of the concepts. It was something a theme that we thought was necessary for that perimeter road to keep vehicles out on the outside and bring, the pedestrians to the inside in an unencumbered way. But what this one does is it actually segments the soccer parking, brings that perimeter road around the other side of the playscape, produces a bridge between the soccer fields, and then brings the road down to lacrosse. We obviously took it a step further and said, well, what if you did and you move the entire road down, and now you've created a green space that can be used by lacrosse, soccer, other uses that were not even on the spectrum at this point. We wanted to plan for areas that can be developed as a plan is matured. And then we couldn't help ourselves. We did have a discussion with lacrosse. We said, okay, we'll take a look at the parking lot and make sure we can structure that lot too. There was a picture sent to me of a tournament where someone flew a drone. I believe lacrosse and soccer were going on at the same time. And there were about 81 cars in one lot and 76 in the other. And everyone was like, oh, there's way too much parking out there. This is likened to an elementary school. It is a perceived parking issue. It is not a real parking issue. It comes down to more or less the structure or the lack of structure in the parking areas that perception is fostered. We can easily achieve parking areas in excess of 200 to 250 unstructured. What we do is we make the spaces bigger when we're unstructured or if we're in gravel, things like that. But we put some definitive areas in those designs, maybe utilization of utility poles to segment driveways, or wood chip berms can be placed. There's a lot of wood chips out there. They can be placed as a traffic unit to direct people around. One thing you did notice at the very beginning, we're implementing a lot of signage. We're implementing a lot of stop signs and no parking in this area. We don't want to fill the signage out there, but we think there needs to be some order applied to any concept that is done out on the area. Then we took an even further step back and we said, well, that perimeter may end up happening further down. So we couldn't help ourselves, we got away from it, but we started looking at how we can define that because of the use zones that could be defined. And what I mean use zones is balancing that out. And we're not tasked with doing that as part of this project. It is a recommendation that will come out of this project that the master plan really needs to be revisited. Times have changed. The environment out there has changed. The uses in the community have changed since 2013. But we know that it doesn't hinder, what we're showing doesn't hinder future either growth or future either conservation, preservation, or development. With that said, we're on the public engagement input session right now. That is the next step for us, is to gain some input on these items. After that, we have a draft report which encapsulates all of the actions that we've done since the beginning of the project. We send that over to the committee. I'm sure it'll go through a couple of rounds of revisions with different committee members and entities within the town, and then we'll issue that final report with our recommendations. At this time, I can open it up to questions. After questions, I will just give you a little bit of insight. We'll turn over the boards. Those are the boards you just saw. And you can actually, everyone, I said there's Post-it notes. You can write comments on Post-it notes and put them on the boards. I've got stickers. It doesn't matter what the color is. If you like one over the other, if you hate them, don't touch them. If you like it, put a sticker on it just so we have a rough idea. It's just a rough straw tally. And you have comment cards if you don't feel comfortable making a comment out in public. We understand that. Some of the best comments we get are written down and put in the box, which is right over near this gentleman with the uniform on. We value the input and we appreciate it. One other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank both the committee and the community for letting the BL companies come into your town and immerse ourselves in the study of this park. We find it very exciting. We always say that we come in as consultants, but we leave as members of the community. We were very happy to work with everybody that we've met, both critical feedback and positive feedback. We appreciate it. And this room being packed tonight speaks volumes for your community, that you guys are passionate and you care about what goes on in your community. And I applaud that. Thank you.
So we'll get this going for public dialogue or feedback. All I'm asking is if you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you. Please stay concise, to the point. And if they have answers, they'll give you answers. Make sure that you say your name and your address in town so that we have it for the record. And then we'll go from there. So anyone first? Yeah, come on up.
Hello, my name is Eleni Haskos. I'm at 469 Oakview Drive. Actually, in your presentation, my house was shown quite a few times. So my house is actually right next to, adjacent to the access road on Oakview. There is quite a bit of traffic flow coming in and out, and one of my bigger concerns is just how fast people have been going. Just before leaving tonight to come here, there was an individual who came racing down. And I am aware that there is a police presence that has been coming in and out during the day and at night, but I'm just wondering if there are additional measures that could be taken. I'm concerned. Last week's snowstorm kind of showed me how bad it can get, especially when people don't really have much of a concern to be slow. And so I don't want them to obviously get hurt, but I also don't want property damage. Is there any plan on putting speed bumps down this access road by any chance? Is this the meeting to discuss that?
Well, obviously, part of your feedback in the documents to them, those locations would be very helpful because you live there. So we're always open to that. But we spent a lot of time talking about speed bumps, about the setup, as you heard the presentation, the setup of the entrance, the egress and entrance. We talked a lot about that, and that's all part of what we want. So input from you would be important.
Okay.
And that's where we're just at the beginning phase. I think Dominic did a great job of that, saying we're at the public feedback. You're the eyes and ears that live there, and that's why we need to know these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that side is all new to us too. You know,
Yeah.
I've been in town 30 years, and I'm used to the other way. And and now I don't have kids down there, so I don't spend time. So I don't live that access road. So that's good info.
Yeah, the only other thing is the number of cars that are present at Wolf Park. They will go down that access road, turn around in that little clearing that was made, and then will come back down. Some cars will stop in the middle of the night and just park themselves there for a few minutes. We've had people flash their lights into the back of the house. It feels like a bit of an invasion of privacy, to be honest. So there's been discussion of putting trees back up. And I just wonder if there's going to be an issue with that because we have new drainage measures that are being put in place because of the road causing backflow onto the property. And so these are just a couple of the things that really just consistently stick out to me. So I'll be happy to put them
Yeah,
on
please
the
put
comment
them all
cards.
there, everything and anything, if we could have that, because that's this phase, and we'll look for improvements, right? John, anything else that we need from?
It's well said,
Yeah.
Jimmy. I mean, this is the point of having this meeting, so thank you for
Yeah.
telling us.
No problem.
Yeah.
These are conversations, I'll rebut your stuff if you're all set.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stuff that she brought up is actually addressed. Temporary measures addresses speed humps or speed bumps already, calling upon those. They show in the other drawings, it's not, it's outside the focus, but it's inside, so we've already called for those. We did talk about what we call traffic calming items along the roadway, either doing diets, doing center medians, things along those lines, so we can slow those people down. And then we had a discussion about park rules, both with public safety, a slight one with public safety, and with the committee about, does it close at dusk? Are there different parameters? How do we control it now that you have two accesses? If you looked at the material that Mr. Dion posted, there are people in there at night. And it was evident. We started to notice that you're having people in there 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, in there, either doing, I don't think they're stargazing, but we don't know that for sure. But they're there, so that is an addressment that's going to be addressed in the report. And, that's the information that we need to know. And I'm a landscape architect, so absolutely some trees are going back in.
And we also discussed, obviously, I know everyone probably in here knows, we had some thefts over the summer. And the committee talked with the police chief and the police department. And there's things that we could talk about and not talk about to try to make the park safer and things that we're thinking about. You know, we have safety measures in that sense. But we understand that there's people that are down there at those hours. Next person? Yeah, come on up.
Hi, my name is Carla Birmingham. I'm at 309 Pine Tree Drive. On the old initial design, they were going to build the road next to my house. And I just want to make sure that the committee is aware of the Army Corps of Engineers report. And I would like to see from Parks and Rec or whoever's in charge that the Army Corps of Engineers had asked that they be included in any additional development of the 68 acres of parcel, including any removal of stumps, adding tennis courts, grading or filling, and they wanted to be able to approve it before it was done. So I was wondering if I could see a copy of the approval that Orange received from the Army Corps of Engineers. And at the same time, there was the Connecticut, DEP that was on the property too, regarding the wetlands and how much I've been flooding. So if it would be possible, if somebody could get in touch with me with the approval from the Army Corps of Engineers that when we put the playground in, that was received, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, great question. There was actually a playground committee, so that would be where in the first selectman's office would have that. We have the Army engineer report, right?
We have it, that's for the first,
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
okay.
That was for the entrance that we were gonna do off of Peck. I've been a member for 20 years, so I was part of that actually, and we raised the money with the state and then we had to bring the Army engineers out. The civil engineers came out because of the inland wetlands, and it wasn't that they disapproved the project, but it became cost ineffective for us.
Right.
I mean, so there's a misconception out there that the Army civil engineers said no to the project. They never said no to the
No.
project. We just realized we couldn't afford it, and we didn't have any funding, so that's why we went other avenues. So
Because of
yeah,
bridges.
yeah, because we would have to add bridges and all of the wetlands we would have had to address with you. And
Right.
I remember we've been in here this room before together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd just like to see from the Parks Committee, whoever is supposed to do that, it says, I also wish to point out that further development of the 68-acre parcel should include any additional future impacts to federally regulated aquatic resources, such as adding tennis courts or stump grading or finding, they get their approval from the Army Corps of Engineers. So I would truly,
Yes.
I'd like to see that. If somebody
Okay.
could give me a copy, I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I will ask for it. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, come on up.
Hi, everybody. Erica Higgins, 303 Drummond Road. I feel like I just got a Christmas gift because I was up here a year and a half ago begging for something like this. And it truly is, hopefully, will be executed. And I loved the third A, 3A. I think it was 3A, the one that went all the way around. You show them?
Yeah, we'll show them in a minute. Yeah, I agree.
And the reason why I feel that that's really important is because the goal is to develop this to be a big recreational area for everyone from birth to the old age where there's walking paths and things for everybody to do. Going around and being able to have everybody in the middle and having kids safe, having the elderly safe is ultimately why I was up here a year and a half ago. So my feedback is make it happen. It looks amazing. And I can't wait for the rest of it to be planned out. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. And just so everyone knows, and I know Dominic laid that out, the committee's charge right now is just the safety of the existing piece. That's what we want to be really explicit. One of my thoughts and this is outside of that being a member of that committee, as chair of the Park and Rec Commission, we need that master study plan redone. That's a priority. that's something that we need to ask, for funding for. That would be a next step, as well as going ahead with these these additions. So I don't think that they have to run separately. They can run concurrently, if we master it. And I think that's the discussion, working with the selectmen, all the selectmen, the first selectman, this committee, our Fred Wolf committee, but they don't have to be one done and then move on to the next. We could get it going. I obviously heard B&L wants to be part of this, and they've been a great partner so far. So it leads to the opportunity. Next, anyone else? Yeah, come on up.
All right, I'm John Bakis. I'm at 460 Oakview. So I'm directly in front of where the access road goes. So my major concern is traffic flow and how we get these people in and out safely. That Ridge Road left-hand turn.
Tommy, could you take us back to where, because it's right near your house, John.
Yeah.
It's part of what
Oh, sorry.
of what he was talking about, the landscaping, and he was being really
Right.
nice about it. That for being able to see.
I gotta
he was a
find,
lot
I gotta find my
nicer
way
than I
through.
would
Hold on a
be.
second. We
These
find
are
it
things
there.
we're worried about as well.
Yeah.
I'm not the landscape architect,
Yeah.
remember that. So you may have different things to say about
Yeah.
it, but
I wanna get back to that one. Hold on a second.
keep going.
Keep going. Here?
Yeah.
See
this is
here,
the approach.
yes.
Yes.
So, the pork chop that we're talking about, everybody getting out of that Oakview
Yes.
Drive and heading right to go out towards like Rosebud to get
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
Is there anything being addressed with that 90-degree turn that's at Oakview to Rosebud? As far as we're getting, it's kind of like it's not even, if it's a 90, it's a really sharp
Yeah.
corner. Like, I mean, I'm in agreement with going out that way. I think is the best way to avoid this blind spot.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
is there
another
anything-
drastic idea I had was making that a one-way loop around, but,
One-way loop
that's more
coming
drastic
in
than we
through the
would-
park?
Making Oakview.
Make Oakview a one-way,
Oakview Drive itself a one-way.
yeah, but that's more drastic. and
We
we
Gotcha.
was ready for that.
Is there
But,
any plans for another entrance or egress out through the field to
We have-
Meeting House?
That's outside of our purview. What we did is on the focused study area, we left that option open.
Yeah,
That
we-
there can
Gotcha.
be other, that it can go, there's a couple of different ways you can get back out to provide another access, but we didn't study that piece.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That'd be part of the master plan, because
Yeah.
it's an extension on farther on Fred Wolf, it'd be on the other end. As we said earlier, what our problem is originally, our master plan in 2013 was we wanted the Peck Place entrance to be the main entrance.
Right.
But because of the cost, that's really why we've gone this way. You have suggestions, you live there,
Yeah,
so.
oh yeah, the other thing
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
to piggyback on what Elaine's saying, with people in the park when, after hours, like, is there any discussion of like gates that are gonna go on there that are open by Park and Recs, like, to secure that area, because it's gonna become a haven for, nefarious conduct, drug use, sexual activity, whatnot, and literally, there's not a good slide, but that access road, where I'm on the opposite side, it doesn't necessarily affect me, but it does affect my neighbors, both on Pine Tree, like you cut through their backyards. That access road
Yeah.
literally goes right through. So you're on the roadway here, you're stepping into their backyard.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't even like much of a buffer. I'm just curious if there was any plans for like split rail fencing or gating off those entrances
Yeah,
entrances and
This is
exits
the
at
point where we're
certain
asking
park
for those
times.
kind of comments.
Yeah, because I mean, the people that, it's a great facility, and the neighborhood, we're happy that it's there. But there's like, now that you cut that in and you're really drawing a lot of people here, not necessarily from town, but once people know it's a spot that's dark and there's no lighting, and not that we want lighting there, because we don't. But we just wanna know that the park is closed, like, there's no reason to be in there after dark.
there's
It's a
certain
dawn to
measures we
dusk
can do.
operation, I mean, the town
Yeah,
Park and Recs people work all, pretty much, whenever there's games and events, so like if that was a gate, like a gate that dropped and locked with just, even if it was just a pillar and an arm,
Yeah.
would just be enough to deter these people from hanging out, you know?
We'd have to make an effort to.
So that's probably between, I guess, traffic flow, you know, with that and going out the right, that would be probably my biggest concern. Just because that thing is like, even if you're not from here, like I go out that way, if I'm in my van, the front end is short, so I can get up there and nose out. If I'm in my pickup with the front end long, you're in the middle of the road before you even
Yes.
see it.
Yeah,
Without a
that's,
doubt.
that's
And if
exactly
you don't know
why
it,
we're-
if you're unaware and you're a soccer mom with a SUV or soccer dad SUV and you're out there, you're gonna
Yeah.
be in the middle of the road before you even make
Yeah.
that turn.
It's-
So
it's-
The
that's
main,
like a,
up until now, the main people that would know this are the people that live on this side of town that their kids go to Peck School.
Right.
That's the way we sneak around, and we always took it. But we always had to edge out. Exactly.
yeah, you're almost to the,
I'm almost
you're almost
to
to
the
the
middle.
divider line
Yeah.
before, and then you
Yeah.
realize it, you're like, whoa,
You're
I'm
like,
in the middle of the
whoa.
road.
Yeah, no, we
But-
agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
There's no crash history, but we don't want to create a crash history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd love to see a little focus on like seeing
Okay.
what that plan looks like, and then also too like security. If we could
Security.
lock that,
Okay.
a little pole gate would be like perfect, you know? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, come on up. And remember, also, if you don't feel comfortable afterwards, you could give comments. We could get email address, so you could do it later on. If you have more details, if you forget, I'm one of those guys that next morning I'll wake up with 7 things that I'll remember and want to send it. We could give you those emails before you leave, because this next month is really important that we get your feedback, because we want to present. We don't want it to take forever, but we want it to be thorough.
Mason Law, I'm 461 Oakview Drive, so I'm to the right of the new entrance there. I just wanted to reiterate the people coming through late at night. We have a sun porch on the back of the house that is wide open to the whole entrance now, so yeah, some trees going in would be great, and fencing is a nice idea. I like that as well. There's also a lot of people walking the dogs and walking their kids. Is there any plans to put in like a walking area, not just a wide open?
Master plan, we would like, that's part of our discussion, so a walking park. We want to actually mirror the community center in the sense that we want a lot of parents usually used to, back when we didn't have Red Wolf, and we would do a lot of this practicing up at High Plains. The parents would drop the kids off at the practices and would walk our trail. That's how we got the track at High Plains. That is on the agenda. It's on actually the 2013 master plan. Also a dog, corn park or whatever you want to call it, like Milford has over on West River Road, with some of the considerations. A lot of things are under. There hasn't been any decisions on that,
Right.
but that would be something we heavily would consider. Yeah.
And just the other point is the drainage. We're heavily affected already before the park being paved. So I don't know if there's any study to looking at the drainage coming off that new entrance, and that drain right there was during the last storms was pretty much at the top of the up to the street level.
It was
so-
okay.
And I just didn't know if there was any study done, or I'd noticed the last rainstorms there was more water than usual coming through the backyard.
So write that up, because I'll talk to the first selectman, because that access road was done through the addition of the playground. So Park and Rec really, our town
Yeah,
did that. So
I've talked to Bob a few times. It just doesn't seem like there's any actual.
send me an
plans
email, or send Dan Lynch an email explaining it, and then I'll forward it to the first selectman and talk to him about
Okay.
it. Okay. Because that does concern me that we're only a few storms in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the other thing, if I guess it's on the new master plan, but since the idea is to make this like a nice big area for the whole town, it seems like these two entrances are kind of just hodgepodge together, and it seems like a new entrance with like a main entryway coming in and out would make more sense than what we have going on now.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Thank you. Yeah. Listen.
I know it's being pieced together.
Yeah, and I've lived in town for now almost 30 years, and I watched Old Tavern develop a little bit the same way, when we're a small community with limited resources, but lots of volunteers and supporters, we do things the best we can within the means that we can, but it doesn't always develop. Never would we have planned to make a main entrance to a large athletic facility through someone's backyard, but that's somewhat what we have here. So it's, yeah, we have to make the best out of a very difficult situation. Trees, supports, improving the drainage, those are things we can control. We can't control the borders of the land and what is feasible and what's not feasible. So I think that has to, remember, this land which was purchased to originally be the new Amity High School. Orange was gonna go off and have Orange High School. Tom knows that really well. That's what this piece of property was deemed for, and we now wanna move it to the next phase. So, entrance and egress has always been a concern of mine since the beginning, and I agree with you. Anyone, comments from any of the Fred Wolf committees so far? Peach, anything? John? Jeannie? No? Tom? Yeah, we're ready for you, Tom. I know you've been waiting and waiting and waiting. You've been patient, so.
Tom Paisano, 523 Fairway Road, Orange, Connecticut. I've spent 20 years every Sunday, except in the winter, at Fred Wolf Park. So I know it well. I know all the entrances, exits, and the kids are the important thing. This is a fantastic thing we're doing. This is great. I'm great for the input. The public needed to help us along to get this done. Two things for those that know me and trust me. I'd go with 3A, so I vote for that. Just my opinion. But I'd like to add more. I did talk to the police before. What we really need there is more illumination. I physically put the light in myself that you see in the parking lot. That's all we have. And I had to replace it a couple weeks ago. But the police need a camera there. We need some surveillance. That little bit of illumination will stop the parking, stop the nighttime stuff. But if they know if there's some surveillance on the playground, we're going to save a $700,000 playground from being damaged. So I just applaud this committee. And when we get money, which we have none, for these corrections, we haven't put any dollars on any of these options, by the way. So I don't even know if we're going to get the money. But if we get the money, why not add $15,000 more and let's get a camera. The police said they would monitor it. They have it at High Plains. We have one at Mariel. But we don't have one at Fred Wolf at all. And I found a lot of stuff many years in the fields, in the parking lot. But thank God, because the respect the children have, the young kids that enjoy that park, and now the playground, they don't do damage there. Somebody took a dump once in the drinking fountain, but that's the worst thing, okay? It could clean that up. The kids are kids. But beyond that, I got to tell you, the neighbors are fantastic. They pick up after their dogs. It is a great facility, and it's a hidden gem. Let's just make it better. Thank you. Don't mean to waste time.
Yeah, John. Yeah, come on. What? No, yeah.
While I agree, the camera is a great asset to have there. Also, the big consideration too is that as far as illumination goes, just be mindful if you're designing something along that means is that is someone's backyard.
Yeah.
Which was previously all wooded. Now, I'm not affected by it, but on behalf of my neighbors,
Yeah.
Eleni, Mason, they're directly impacted by any kind of lighting measure, where I think taking a vehicle, a simple pole gate that drops and locks, and you still can have pedestrians back there, walk their dogs and early walkers and whatnot, still can access the park, but you're preventing those vehicles from getting back there, and that's where the real trouble comes in, I think. Like you said, the people that walk their dogs and the kids back there, I think, have been more or less respectful. It's just that out-of-towners that kind of find out, like Racebrook Track, they know that, hey, this is a spot we can hang out.
Yep.
If you can't get your vehicle back there, you're less apt to hang out there. So a simple gate lock would be, I think,
We agree. We
a
want
little
to.
bit more neighbor-friendly than like lighting the place up and making
Wow.
the roadway.
While understanding, I think Tom means that the centerpiece of where like soccer parking is, that's and around the playground is where he wants some lighting. We would look at that. Remember, the access road is new for us too. And a lot of us haven't spent a lot of time and know the ins and outs. That's why I was asking you, because we know that it's not perfect and we have to be better. But I think a combination of that. But I've mentioned this before. I always thought gates at dusk would be a nice thing at a few of our facilities. But it's the manpower supports. We're already stretched. So we'll
I'll interject.
Yeah.
I'll interject for a second because it comes down to some of the recommendations. We hear you loud and clear. One thing we do discuss is since we're not doing the overall park, but we can provide recommendations. We do have it already written. We've already started writing, obviously, this report. And there is a paragraph in there about like unification of design elements at entrances, park rules posted not only at the entrances, but at use areas so people understand park closes at dusk. And then we also talk about interim and access gates. And it can be a conversation that can be had. You can take that entire access road offline for the winter by shutting it down near the playground, shutting it down there. Maybe you bring it in a little ways so an officer can drive in, look down each direction. So there are alternatives, and those have been written in already. So we need the input from you guys, but some of the stuff we're already considering on the report.
Jim, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Have you guys thought of an attendant to open and close the gates on the weekend?
Actually, that was we looked at a facility in Shelton that was just redone a few years ago, has a bathroom, because one of the discussions that was a lead part was us having usable bathrooms rather than porta-johns. And part of that would be to make sure we see the problems we have at Old Tavern. One of them would be a part-time attendant. So that could go into that whole philosophy.
All right.
Yeah.
That's, all right.
That would be part of that. We really want, and that would be part of the master plan. But if you think of where soccer and lacrosse meet, we were really thinking of we really have to have a gazebo, a shed type. We have to have ability for concessions and probably bathrooms. If you're we're getting to that phase of it's big enough where it has to have self-sustaining rather than just porta potty facilities. So that would probably that's part of the master plan. One of the things is that's very different than from when we started this is I sent the committee. I'm in public education. I have seen now the state get more involved. If you drive over into Milford, that's not a lot of Milford money. That's state money that they have, applied for and grants. And we need to have your support doing that as well. Because Wolcott just got $1.4 million for a soccer field. I sent it to John. So there is an opportunity. I'm not saying there is money. There's an opportunity to apply for money that we're going to have to look into to really get this to where we want. So I'd like to finish up any public comments, and then you give everyone some time over with that. Come on up. How many more people would like to speak? Can you raise your hands? Okay, so I have two more. Okay, beautiful. Three? Okay. Oh, there you go. Not me. Okay. I miscounted. There you go. It's late at night.
All right, how you doing? Jomo Nichols, 358 Hitchin Post Drive. I spent a decent amount of time at Fred Wolf. I guess we're talking about the traffic, but we're more or less breaking that down into 12 weeks in the spring, 12 weeks in the fall. I just wanted to know if you guys went into the traffic count a little bit further in terms of outside by Hollow and Ridge, the percentage that's taking a right versus a left. Because in my observation, I would say 90% of the traffic coming out of there goes right versus the left. So that would somewhat eliminate the conversation around Oak View. That could just be maybe an entrance, not really an exit point, putting extra traffic onto that area. Just my comment.
So part of this study, we did not look at that, but as part of the master plan, we'd be looking at all new entrances and where the traffic would be going. So we definitely would want to expand this study later on to look at, as we said, we have 2 entrances now. We could be looking at other ones in the future. So we'd want to bring that all into one holistic element.
Let me get the other people, John, and then I'll come back to you, the new
Thank you. I
people.
just wanna have
Yeah,
one quick
yeah, yeah. Go, why don't you come up here? Yeah, right there, yeah.
Nick Calcaterra, live at 328 Hollow Road. I'll be brief. I just want to echo what Mason said, who's in the orange vest. And that is, he mentioned that the 2 entrances were sort of a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
And I think, given where this park is going to be, the park and playground is going to go, we really need more than 2 entrances. And I think having lived in Hollow Road for so many years, I kind of know what the traffic is like. I think we're seeing some of those similar issues occur with at the Oakview entrance. It's just going to, compound itself. So I just want to echo what he said, which I thought was a very good point, that whatever plan we come up with, whether it's 3A, we need to take into account that there needs to be another entrance at some point, and we shouldn't, whatever design we select shouldn't preclude another entrance from coming in.
Never would.
Okay.
We'll make sure of that.
Okay.
I think that was one of the charges, because we know we need more access. And we got it.
Okay. All right.
I can guarantee that. Yeah, come on up.
Hi, I'm Ginny Prostakis. I live at 327 Hollow Road across from Nick. Couple things. This Oakview left, I've been in town for 50 plus years. This has always been an issue. Those are not bushes based on anyone's landscaping plan, I could say. I'm part of the garden club, I'm on the board. I think we should talk about this more. I think there would be more accidents, except people who know don't go in that direction. And I think once you get a bunch of people who don't know the terrain, you're gonna have more issues. Secondly, our car was broken into in November. And we heard from the officer that it was not unique. Obviously, you heard about this in the news all over town. It's not new. But we see the cars going down in the middle of the night. And I would like to see us talk about a gate. I have a husband who's retired, so I'll volunteer him to go down with John, can do Oakview, and Pete can do Hollow Road, and we can make it work. I have a lot of empathy for the Oakview people. I was the first house on Hollow Road. We moved in a year before anyone else, so I've been there the longest. But the way it was done behind Oakview, and when we saw those trees come down, that was just heartbreaking for us to see. So they need some help. I mean, I have my own issues. We have a 6-year-old grandson and a 2.5-year-old special needs granddaughter, and they love the park. They love the playground. I'm a huge supporter of playground. I'm a soccer mom. I'm a soccer grandmom. I support it all. But I was wondering if you guys looked at the entrance right now, today, because if we walk down there, which we do, if there's 2 SUVs coming, I'm afraid to walk down there with my grandchildren. So something needs to be done sooner than later. I think we've just been lucky. That's my 2 cents there.
I'll make one comment about that. Obviously, that's when we were not tasked with the temporary measures. We felt it necessary, and some of them are written into that plan, and they do address the fact that it's a little unsafe with that entrance. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn that as part of this roadway piece, we've been told by the first selectman, he is addressing roadway width on the hollow section from the cul-de-sac area inward. I don't know if that's happening or not, but we were told not to look at that. That's all I can say.
We will add it into the specs if it's not done. That's the best I can say, you know. Yeah, come on up. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Mary Wielander, 377 Dogwood Road. I'm a resident, but I also serve as one of the state representatives for Orange. First, I just wanted to say thank you to all the different committees who have put in a lot of work over the last couple of years trying to make this work. All of the public input for everyone who did the work and made this kind of presentation happen. I would just wanted to say, one, I would love to continue to be a partner on the state level and making this come to fruition for the whole town. And I know that we all want this to happen as soon as possible so we can be using it safely, that our kids can have access to it. But I would caution not to rush through this part of the process as well as the master plan, and give more people time to give this kind of public input so that we can move forward with confidence rather than having one win and then backtracking to try to figure out what's going on. So that's just wanted to say that. I really appreciated the presentation and hearing all of the comments, and I'm happy to continue to be a partner with the town.
Thank you. That's great feedback.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
John? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just got a few questions.
Yeah, of course. The poor Parker Rec Commission didn't know they were the Fred Wolf Committee. No. I've been
know
sitting,
either.
I just want to thank my commission. You guys have been sitting here patiently. Thank you.
My name is Sam Jimenez. I live at 466 Oakview Drive. The street that you just put in comes right out to my house. I don't know how it is at night. Are you going to have night lights in that place for games or whatever?
We have, so first thing is the Park and Rec Commission, the town put in the access road. Park and Rec Commission and the Fred Wolf Committee didn't have any part of that.
Oh, no, I'm not, I'm
So,
just,
no, I just wanted to clarify,
Yeah.
just in case. I think that's part of the master plan, not the immediate plan right now, the safety and what we were talking about, these options. But the master plan would be safety, gates, and that, because we got to look at the whole plan. We don't want to under illuminate, but we don't want to over, illuminate.
do you plan on having, let's say, night games there?
Yeah. Good question.
Because that affects-
So I will say this: the soccer association right now has a standing approval for 6 weeks in the fall because of daylight savings to bring in lights. They have been supportive of us having lights on at least one field in the middle of that. That has not been exposed because we don't have financially the means to put the lights in. You're talking $1 million.
Well, I'm glad that you're not going to have lights.
Yeah.
This way you have time,
Yeah.
where they can be there, and then you can lock it up,
Yeah.
and nobody allowed at night. Things happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially the way the situation is now. Even the suburbs are getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm on Oakview. Cars come out, I get the headlights. My neighbors had a nice buffer between them. It was nice. Now they got a road. So they have an issue. And what Mason was saying about runoff, I feel sorry for them. No sooner they moved in, they had water going through the basement. And the basement is finished basement. So the issue is bad. But, Oakview Drive is maybe 200 feet long, bordered by Rosebud that's not even 100 feet long, Pine, less than that, going out to Ridge, that the people that go through that, they're not going 30 miles an hour, they're going 40 miles an hour. And like John was saying, you got to nose out, nose out, nose out. I got to pick up like John. And sometimes I go out, and unless it's nighttime where I could see basic lights, I get like this, I could get hit.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's just a small road, but I think the decision has already been made. Gentleman mentioned nothing's on stone, but that road is on stone.
Yeah, it's there.
So that's,
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
nothing's gonna change.
I'm not disagreeing.
Okay, that was it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the feedback. John, do you want to add?
The one thing that I was just curious about was, what is the official designation for address for that space? Like, if people are coming from out of town for these lacrosse games, how do they find Wolf Park? Like, do they Google, what's the address for it? Are they coming off Hollow Road? Or are they
It's on a hollow road.
300 Hollow Road.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna stay? Is that
Yeah.
that's where we're?
No, that's something we can discuss. I mean, that's, you know, if that, we could contact Google, because we are making additions, and, you know, they do come by and change things as, you know, developments do happen, you know, everywhere, so we could probably address that.
Yeah, I just was curious if it was getting designated as that new road on Oakview, or if it's still Hollow Road.
It's still the Hollow Road, it's still. That's why we had, you know, the speed bumps have been, you know, have been a deterrent, but we understand speed has always been an issue with anything to do with the park that we've been concerned about. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have a quick request.
Yeah.
I'm also Sally, Sam's wife, so we live on 466 Oakview. The issue here is safety, so my concern is Rosebud. I'm living on that road for 25 years, so I usually take the parkway. I'm used to going up Oakview to Rosebud. That is like almost a 90-degree turn. You mentioned numbers, a lot of numbers of traffic at a certain time. I'm wondering how you're gonna handle that curve, if it's a two-way street. There's potential for a lot of accidents there.
Yeah, great feedback.
I know that road. So my request is, for the report, I would like to know, to get a copy of it or somehow have access to it. I wanna know how many cars are coming up and the time frame of that traffic.
We can give it to you on Hollow and Ridge. We can't document that. Recently opened, there's no.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't.
Yeah, we didn't do any counts
Well,
there. 'cause it
whatever
hasn't
you
been open.
think is coming out of that road, whichever direction it's going, and the time frame
Yeah.
that you expect that traffic, I saw that time 4 or 5,
Yep.
I will have access to those
Oh,
roads.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think it was clear that, you know, that there, obviously, no plan is perfect. We have some improvements and some thoughts and feedback, and I know, I'm sorry. I turned it off. I thought I was on. Getting yelled at. Sorry. We will take everything in. Please also, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 5-minute break here for our Park and Rec meeting. We have a couple quick things we have to go through. And so I'm going to let everybody, doesn't have to stay for the rest of the Park and Rec committee meeting. You guys can take a look at this, and then we can do our Park and Rec meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn for 5 minutes? Jack, second. All in favor? Aye, aye. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so we're back from our break, and Mrs. Davis lectured me to get back here, so I appreciate it. And we are going to start with our agenda. Our next topic here is B, Amity Girls and Boys Lacrosse discussion regarding field usage and fees. So I want to get the commission a little bit up to speed. We obviously what happened is we have had.
Are you done with the projector?
Yeah. Thank you. We have had Fred Wolf, through a lot of volunteers, created the lacrosse field. Boys lacrosse originally used Pease Road and Woodbridge exclusively. Then Bill started really the fundraising and creating the field here at Fred Wolf. We had no real location for boys or girls lacrosse in the town at that time. I had worked with Woodbridge residents because I'll be quite frank, if Tom was here, I'd tell Tom the honest truth. I ran into blocks and frustration using any of the other existing fields. Lacrosse beat up the fields, was soccer's opinion, and vice versa. So it was mutual. So Bill and Jim built that field. What we've gone into, and this could have to do with COVID, is we've had there's now between Pease Road and here, there is some confusion. I've had side meetings, Dan has had them, with usage of Fred Wolf and the lacrosse field. What we have asked is soccer, the town pays for all water. We have irrigation on all the fields at Fred Wolf. We have all the field irrigation at Old Tavern. The town pays for that. That is very expensive. Back when we started, it wasn't that expensive, but it's expensive. part of it, we ask for in-kind services, especially at Old Tavern. One of the in-kind services that we ask at Fred Wolf to go along with this is fertilizing and maintenance and upkeep. We have never struggled because it's one entity with Orange Soccer, meaning I think it's just one group. We have and we have two wonderful groups, two very dedicated groups on boys and girls soccer, but they are not one entity like soccer. And I have had trouble, so I'm bringing this to the commission. I've had meetings on my own. Dan has had it, as I said, I'm repeating myself now. The frustration of everybody feeling equal, and I think it's more on the boys' side of access to Fred Wolf, and then having the equality of the same cost. In all fairness, this has probably come to here because the town needed to get the fields taken care of. We contracted a local landscape company that fertilizes, and we then divided the bill. And the girls have paid their part of the bill. The boys have repeatedly asked us, well, they want some questions and assurances before they pay. And I've tried everything I can do as even the former boys coach. I don't know, so I thought I'd bring them. We've asked them, and we've asked everybody to come here because we got to solve this problem for once and all. I think that's where it is. I love both groups. I've had children in both groups. I've worked closely with both people. They all are wonderful people. I don't know what the answer is. I've struggled on my side as the chair, and I think Bill or Jeannie can say that their side. I think what I'll do first is we'll ask Jeannie come up here. Can you say where the boys' exact position so that the commission knows? And so I'm bringing more of my members into this, and I'm hoping we could solve this tonight. Really, this is a dream. This is a dream of mine because I've struggled, right, Bill? I mean, I've struggled with this, and I know Bill wants to solve it. I know they both do, but somehow we got to get here. So I'll give you first. You want to come up? No, I just want you to sit here. Come sit here. And Bill, you can. Why don't you come over and sit here, Bill? I'll bring both of you guys up. Yeah, family court. No, what? I'm a mediator, yeah. Yeah, it's all right. No, they can sit next to each other. I'll pull away. I'm giving Bill the big chair. He's the one who started girls lacrosse, or else we wouldn't have it, so I do appreciate it. Thank you. So why don't you get everybody, I know I tried to give a somewhat.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Janine Capslatro. I'm on the board for Amity Boys Lacrosse. I've been involved in this process for the last 3 years. We're super excited to be here because we really are just looking for a seat at the table and an opportunity to participate in the annual scheduling of the fields. We have 150 players in our organization. It represents 50% of them are from the town of Orange. So we're really looking forward to being able to play at Fred Wolf equally with the girls. And I know that the history of that comes from, we've grown the program almost 50%. We've doubled the program actually. So we've doubled the program since the time that the boys were playing solely at Pease and the girls were playing solely at Fred Wolf.
Yeah.
So you did a great job summarizing though. That's really.
Yeah, we were at, and I could say it because I was one of the founders of the boys' side. We were around 100. We stayed 100 kids. Obviously, we struggled up and down with baseball being a strong, very strong baseball town. But we now have been around over 20 years. So that's a credit to that. And the girls also they've increased since I was a member as a father. Bill has doubled, at least doubled,
We have
right?
21 players playing now. We have 21 kindergartners.
Yeah, see, so, yeah, it's incredible. So, I think we all want to get to the same means. I think it's, how do we go at suggestions I'm looking for.
So
Yeah.
the boys prepared, I actually have, I hope I have enough for everyone passing out. A proposal for the management of the park, which would be joint management between, the girls and the boys. So that we had a schedule of meetings that would be held, throughout the year to discuss the field usage for the spring, field usage for summer, field usage for fall, and then a rest time in the winter. So, right now, it would be the dates listed on the left, and then who would initiate or create, the call to bring everyone to the table. So I'll give you guys a chance to look at that. And this is really what we've been asking for as well. We just want to be able to have an open conversation with all interested parties and be able to discuss this, throughout the year.
So this doesn't happen today? You don't work together at all today?
So, and Bill, why don't you speak? To, 'cause Bill- he has a,
I'm not gonna speak.
okay.
Um,
I will speak
I
on.
have always said, Dan can back me on this, I've always kept a paper schedule. I've never turned anybody down.
Nope.
And I've always said to the boys, tell me what you need, there's plenty of space for everybody to use it, and we'll make it work. And I've never said no, there's no space.
I agree, 100%. Anytime I've ever called as my different roles, Chuck, and to everyone here, he's never said no. He's always said it. I'm gonna say, I think boys lacrosse feels, because Bill was part of the initial developing of it. He's always kept the master schedule. We don't have the capability in-house at Park and Rec, nor do we want that, to micromanage a field. We don't do it at Old Tavern. We've had to threaten. We had this kind of event with softball and baseball about 12 years ago. The same type of things about field space and creativity. So I think Bill has always maintained the schedule, the master schedule, right? And he's
it's
always
not
been
real in
access
depth,
there.
and it's
Yeah,
Pretty basic, there's only
Yeah.
4 people that are using it. Boys, girls, a summer group,
yeah,
and now your group, or
Yeah.
a younger boys group's coming, I guess.
yeah,
Right? And we also have the third field that you mentioned to me.
yeah.
We're gonna have to call that lacrosse 3 or field 3, I don't know what we're gonna call it. But there's gonna-
Did Owen leave? No, there he is. That's all, we're gonna call it the Owen Weaver Field. That's what we'll call it. One of my founding lacrosse players in town.
But there's a men's group that plays there on
Yeah,
Sundays.
yeah.
There's more people that are using it.
So I think that boys, Coach Jeannie, talk, she feels that because they get the after.
I have CC'd Dan on every email that I sent to the
No,
boys
I agree.
about, tell me what you need in the spring. It was in December twice. I CC'd, I don't know if I CC'd you, Jim, but I definitely CC'd Dan.
No, and I'm not
And I haven't gotten a
important, that's
response.
Dan.
So, Jenny, whatever you need, you can have. Tell us what you need. I saw your website, what you have. I already tried to schedule around what I saw on your website because you didn't respond to me. There's plenty of time for us. There's no field issues here. There's a beautiful complex with 2 programs that can easily work together. And
I agree.
I sat with Jim and we talked about this. Jim, you and me
Yeah.
talked about this schedule. We're gonna meet in December to talk about and it just never happened. You didn't respond to me.
So this schedule was never presented to
No.
the boys.
No,
We-
we sat at
we-
High Plains and did the schedule together with Jim at the meeting.
We did, and then of the 2 dates of the 7 days that we got, you requested to have one of them switched after we had launched our registration. So if you guys look at the 3rd page, or the second page.
Second page, yeah, which is the master.
It shows the current schedule. So, in regards to field accessibility for spring of 2024, the boys were gonna ask for every other Friday.
Okay.
So that we could potentially schedule games
Can
and.
I chime in for a second? I'm sorry.
Lucy's our current,
Lacey.
Lacey's our current scheduler.
Just so you know, for girls lacrosse, when the girls go and register currently, there is no set days of the week for parents to know when the girls are registered.
Perfect, yeah.
So,
So you're open to movement, yeah.
so and Bill does that on purpose, for boys,
That's great.
for coaches, for everything. There is nothing set, and as much of a pain in the ass as it is for parents,
Yeah.
he does it for.
No, he's good to parents. I agree.
No, so you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
on that website, when these parents go to register these girls, all it says is
to June. There's no other, nothing else. I get emails, I get texts.
Yeah.
You know what? You'll find out as soon as we know.
Well, especially because of the coaching and the
Yes,
high
but
school
I'm saying
coaches,
there's
yeah,
not
I
a
agree,
moving
a lot of
parts.
moving parts.
In terms of what days of
Okay, yeah, can you come up, well, actually, I think you're done, right? You're good. So, yeah, I get yelled at all the time, sorry. Why don't you just take Fridays?
So we don't want to take a date and then not be on the field. So we realistically, if we kept our P schedule and then asked for every other Friday at this time, that would be appropriate for spring of 2024.
So, because we're coming on scheduling for you, Bill, would that every other Friday of adding that in, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's kind of what we
Okay.
did last year, I
Yeah.
think, right? 'Cause of-
No.
But let's do that.
Fine.
Is that for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we can put that on the master
Lacey, we're
schedule.
okay with that, right? Every other
Every other Friday?
No, that's fine. I'm just saying in terms of
Yeah.
like.
Thank
just
you.
That, no, that we have never set anything in stone in terms of days for this particular.
No one's challenging that.
Right.
I think what I'm trying to do is just, come to a happy medium here.
Lacey, are you scheduling?
Well, no, I'm saying, no, nothing is like.
So I'm just looking for who do I contact to confirm which dates the boys are taking and which dates
Lacey's
the girls are
already-
taking?
Lacey.
All right.
Okay. So you two can talk?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect.
She has on Google spreadsheet.
And I did, so everybody knows, in full disclosure, I helped because he was my player and my captain, and he wants to use or I call it the orphan field because nobody wants it.
We want it.
And so I've wanted it used, so I've been begging Owen to use it. So I'd love, at least then we can start giving that to other people. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bill,
I
for
mean,
pushing
as
it
long
out.
as
Yeah.
Dan's okay with doing it.
Yeah.
And Lacey and Janine, can you just CC me on those emails,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah.
Lacey, did you hear that?
Yes.
You can
just
CC Dan?
as well.
Okay.
We're okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're good.
So for 2024, the boys will have access to full upper, lower, and side, we call it the side fields, on
Tuesday
Tuesdays
and
and
Thursdays.
Thursdays, and every other
Other
Friday
Friday.
from April through June. Correct?
Agreed?
June 15th, yeah.
Great, okay. So
Wait. So when are you going to P's? So you're not using P's at all?
we
Not-
use.
Not on Thursdays.
Not on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So
We
Thursdays.
use Ps on
would be-
Tuesdays.
So Ps would be available for you on Thursdays.
Correct. The
So
only,
that's the beautiful thing that
We have Woodbridge and Bethany
Yeah.
residents, so, I mean,
Yep.
so that's.
And that was originally when I started this. That was always the days that the boys were at Fred Wolf, the girls would be at P's. The only times would be when soccer usually had Friday nights and Saturdays and Sunday mornings at P's. So those were no go.
the,
Yeah.
the
Only in the fall?
girls, we're not looking to take time from the girls. So the girls program has full access to a complex every day but Tuesday. So they have you have full Ps or full Fred Wolf every single day except on a Tuesday.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I want everybody to feel, and I'm sorry if it was uncomfortable, I apologize.
Yeah.
So, I knew it, yes, Owen. Yeah,
So the other thing
Yep.
that we would like to propose that we've been really trying to work together on is this schedule. So that we can do this before registration opens for each of the events. And field time and field space is promised to other organizations before we've even had first right of refusal. So it really would start technically in December because our spring season will start scheduling in December, so that we consider that really our kickoff would be to meet to determine the 50% usage of both programs. We could call the meeting, have girls lacrosse represented there, and that we would determine the schedule that we just created.
I like the spring season field setup, the fall season field setup, walking with our landscaper, because the wear and tear and the maintenance of our fields is concerning to me. So I think those are important pieces that I wouldn't mind being a part of, so that I applaud
would be
this
great.
schedule. And I know, because I've done it with Bill, we've just done it on spot. I've done walkthroughs with Bill. I've done walkthroughs with you. I've done walkthroughs with Justin. I've done walkthroughs with Rick.
Yeah. And Chris is good.
And Chris, and usually lately I've been just letting Chris go down and give me the advice.
So are we approving this schedule as as two organizations?
I agree to it.
Yeah.
Perfect, okay.
We don't need a motion on our level, no.
Okay. And then the boys did have a couple questions in relation to the work that was done for 2023. I know we also have 2024 invoices were sent to us, so.
That's just what we, I just I showed it to you.
Yes.
Bill, it's basically the same
thing,
stuff as
right.
last year. Yeah.
So the goal mouth work, because those are definitely need attention. It was in the invoice that we contracted to have that fixed last year. Then we also shifted the fields over. So who was responsible for like the date of work, and then was it completed?
Yes.
Was it completed the way
Chris
that it was supposed to
recommended that it
be?
was done when they did the walkthrough with it, with Ivy League.
So
and
in
Justin.
March,
Yeah.
yep.
And they did the work. It was done, completed, paid for, and it was just, Chris said it definitely needs to be done, need to be done yearly.
Okay, because the proposal and invoice state that it should have been roped off and we shouldn't have been on it, and we were using it the entire full season through November. So now, if you walk that property, we have double the same issue, because we have it for where it was already paid for and supposed to be fixed, and then we have it in the new space, because our schedule right now doesn't include any rest on the fields at all, from April through November. So we would just like to know, and then we're asked to split the bill. So we would like a seat at the table regarding what work is being done, and then cooperatively work with the girls to close
Yep.
down the fields and make sure that we're not using that space,
Yep.
so that
Yeah.
they can recover.
We agree with that, and maybe that's how we can adjust. I know a big fundraiser is some of the fall tournaments, correct? Do you still run one or
I think we should
two?
get our grilling right in when we're done, early June.
Yeah,
Close it for a month.
yeah, we could do that. I mean, we don't need,
It's pretty much
we
burnt
don't
out.
need outside,
Everybody
we
kinda
don't
needs
need
a little
outside
bit.
or the high school using it.
If we could shut
yeah,
outside
yeah,
off.
You guys have
We do that
kids
with the
there
old tavern
No.
too.
Yeah.
Shut down
in the
We,
summer?
we do not. We're aware of a men's league, which is also part of the conversation, that is contracted for Sundays. But that was never, brought to the boys' side for review or approval
Wasn't
or
on my
first
side
right of
either.
refusal
No, that was
for
done through the
dates.
town.
Right. So the part of the concern with that is that they're using the fields, and we would like to know who's responsible for going down after they leave to confirm any field damage, because the two programs are then responsible for 50% of the maintenance, but we're not part of approving the groups that are there, and they're also using our equipment.
Okay.
All right, so
There's been a
Where's
soccer,
this
flipping the
men's
nets over
league
and playing
from?
soccer too. They're
It's a SoCon men's league.
a lot of orange guys.
All right, so
Dan should know what.
residents of Bethany, Orange, and Woodbridge too, also, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I just know.
No.
I think so, yeah, I mean, it's possible, absolutely.
All right.
But it sounds like there's more towns, it's just,
Yeah.
it's the Connecticut League.
So, all right.
We gotta start charging them what we do like
Yeah.
the grind. Yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
should, Dan.
Yeah.
We don't-
you know
I mean,
about
yes,
Well,
and we
John
do
made a
with
donation
Old
too.
Tavern and with,
Yeah.
with Fred Wolf, these groups, they
So-
paid, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's
Yeah.
two issues here. I think I agree with you that we have to have a plan for you two. Outside organizations, maybe I think what I make a recommendation to right now is we take a break for the next year at least from all outside organizations because the lacrosse fields need a lot of work. They're hurting and we want to improve them. So I think a
Need
year
work,
break
but
might,
they also
yeah.
need rest.
Rest, that's what I mean.
Yes.
Rest and work. Am I right?
I think that's
Yes.
a good.
Yes. But that third field
Can be used.
can be used. You guys wanna use it with the girls and the boys?
We're requesting the side field in addition to the two
Yes.
lacrosse fields every Tuesday, Thursday,
Thursday.
and every other Friday
All
through
right.
November. Or through,
Yeah, that's part of the
I'm
deal.
sorry.
That's part of the- And then if that outside organization wants a field, they're gonna have to go to use that field. Any of the outside organizations, Dan. That's what I think
Yeah.
for the next
That-
year.
The side field.
Yeah,
on
that
the
side
right,
field, yes.
Going to the lacrosse.
So we
field.
keep everybody off the two main lacrosse
Yeah,
fields,
correct.
other
Yeah.
than boys and girls lacrosse, Amity,
If we
for the
cut
next
summer
year.
off of it
Yeah.
for one summer in the
Yeah.
fall, it would be beautiful.
Can
Yeah.
I do one?
Damage to the men's league? Did they do a lot of damage?
We don't know because I wasn't
Nobody
aware that they
knows.
were on there,
I don't
so
think
I
the men do
didn't
it,
have an
the
opportunity
high
to
school
drive
guys.
down and see what was going on. And they are soccer, unfortunately, soccer, random soccer organizations, not our town soccer organizations, are flipping our goals and using them
For soccer.
for soccer.
They should not be on those fields.
Right.
They are not
Tom-
sanctioned
Tom
or
catches them, he
approved by
throws them
anything.
off, but
Right.
they definitely go there.
So we have
yeah.
our youth
Yes.
equipment is
And,
being used by
weekends, Bill?
everybody.
And at night too.
We should start monitoring that more this spring.
All right, yeah.
Can
You and
I,
I
can
do
I
that.
ask the rest for June, also just be run by the contractor as well to make sure that that's
Yeah.
the most appropriate time
Yeah,
to do
please.
that? So we can add that to the agenda from the week of March
You could-
15th when
you-
we
Well, we
meet with
water
him.
over there too, so we
Yeah,
should be good.
yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Um,
And what we could do is, so usually I bother, two things. I bother Bill for the boys' summer to have a night to go out, and on Sunday nights, we will use the orphan field. So I will direct that. And that's, I don't know what else to call it right now.
Call it field
I'll
three.
call it
Slant
Owen
field?
Weaver
Slant.
Field. Owen Weaver Field. Weaver Field. So the Weaver Field, I'll have the high school team. But we're also now, there's new CIAC rules that we're allowed to actually coach our high school kids during the summer. So we'll actually be up at Amity because we're allowed to be with our kids and for 6 weeks. So so some of the rules will allow us to not be on Fred Wolf hiding away like we've been doing with John Costanza running it because he's not a coach. Myself and AJ will be able to coach the kids for 6 weeks during the high school. So CIAC finally is coming into the 21st century. So
It should be.
Awesome.
Yep, next point.
I'm gonna table outside organizations because it's not relevant for this year. The next question that the boys had is our Bantam program, which is our kindergarten to second grade. They utilize something called a scoop and shoot and little goals for their program. We traditionally have offered our programs one day in Pease and one day at Fred Wolf, but that program cannot carry the equipment back and forth. The reason we can't use Fred Wolf right now is we don't have storage. So we would like to request through Eagle Leasing, the rental of a temporary movable or removable unit that could sit.
We've always supported that. You can do that.
Perfect.
You have the
Okay.
authority to do
So
it.
we can order that. Yeah.
In the back part, you know where to put it, right?
So if you come along the orphan field and
Yeah.
you take a right, we were hoping to hide it in that corner
Perfect.
so that the kids
Yeah.
can just, great.
Yeah, just write an email to Dan so that he's documented on it.
Okay, so the next part of that goes to agreement with Bill for,
Is that, hold on one second, Janine, are you guys that under your jurisdiction, you pay for that?
so yes, the boys would take that on.
No
So
problem.
we would also like to use it though to align with the schedule that we propose to put away and take
Yeah,
out the large
that's
nets
actually-
as well.
that'd be
So
nice,
that those will
right,
be
to hide
put
the
away on the
goals.
calendar.
Off-season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's good.
yep,
To
so
put 'em
that
in
they'll
that
be
so that
locked
they're-
in
We'll put 'em all in there.
Yeah,
November
we'll put 'em all
first.
in.
Storage is gonna be there year-round?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we do it up at Pease Road. It's,
Well, you
it's,
said originally temporary, but now you're saying it's year-round.
Temporary, meaning it's not a set structure. It could be, they can come in and move it somewhere else, or they can come in and remove it completely as needed. Yep.
we've done it for 15
been down
years,
there
yeah.
before.
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be great.
Yep.
I thought
It's a
you
good
meant
idea.
you're gonna use it for the season. But this is gonna be year-round.
Right, the little shed
Year-round
that's there
storage.
right now,
Isn't big enough.
isn't big
It's not
enough
big
for the
enough for that.
large goals.
Plus, they've been breaking the windows,
Yeah,
they've
it's
been,
not-
yeah, can't do anything in there.
So this
Hopefully
would
down
be
the road,
great.
we have some.
Yeah, that was
new
one of the
maintenance
things I talked
buildings and
about, yeah.
Storage and, yeah, but that's a long way away, so.
And then the last point was just, obviously working collaboratively with the girls and talking, which we can take offline about potentially doing a joint venture.
We'd love to
as a
do that, yes.
unified board and a
We-
unified
We-
entity in town.
We probably should be that. That was part of tonight. That we maybe at least once a year, you guys have a meeting together, and that be part of your
Soccer's like
bylaws.
that, Little League's like that.
Yeah.
They work together, so,
Yeah,
it
well,
makes sense.
we'll be seeing each other more than once a year now with this, which will be great.
Good.
If it works out, this first meeting could be an email, right? And so some of
Yeah.
these things can be.
Oh, yeah,
as long as it
definitely.
Works out good.
And also, I know, if the weather is nice, we prefer to keep the nets out if there's a program going down. So this can all be adjusted based on, you know, the weather and things like that. But at least there's a set plan in place to get the equipment stored and maintained correctly.
And I think every town, because I know, because we used the YMCA and Fred Wolf, every lacrosse net in Connecticut during COVID was trashed because kids had needed things to do, and they went out. They used soccer balls, they used lacrosse balls, but they went out and played on them. And so I applaud us, unlike, you know, where we had to take down some of the basketball because of destruction. At least the kids were able to go out there and shoot and do things. And so, you know, I thank Bill for that. So, but now we have to tighten things up, because these two fields are beautiful fields, and we need them to look just as good as the soccer fields, right?
We got 300 kids between the two
Yeah,
of us
yeah.
on these fields, so it's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming out
Yeah.
and getting everything out
Okay.
in the open.
One
and-
other
and
thing about the
agreement.
parking lot, did we go any further with like telephone poles or anything? To try to do temporary fixes?
Divvy it up.
Yeah, so I could tell you I could tell you one of the things, we do want state funding, because our ultimate goal is to do pavement. Because we know anything that we're doing there is gonna be temporary, and we wanna take our time, but the lacrosse parking is just as important as the soccer parking. And I think if 3A wins, I think that you're gonna have access yourself, and you're gonna have, there'll be good parking if we get the pavement in, and that's
that
what
would be
I think
good.
we're gonna do. I think we wanna do things right, like Old Tavern, we did that one to the side when you go to the left in there, and it was done right. It was paved, it had correct drainage,
We had a study done on
and we
it.
did study done, and we did it right, and there hasn't been any problems. It's been 15 years since we did it. If we start chalking things like you've tried,
It lasted a long time last time we did it.
but it's a
Helped.
pain, right?
Oh,
It does
it's a
help,
Major
yeah.
pain, but
But
it makes a difference. You
if
get
we're going
double-
for the money, let's
double
go for the
cars in
gusto,
there.
yeah.
That's a temporary fix, yeah.
We, drainage,
Yeah.
detention ponds.
Oh, we could wind up being
Millions.
saying you're at millions.
Yeah, millions.
And if we can't afford millions, we're never gonna have millions. So if we have to do that, that's
But
the least we're
Well, our
gonna do.
Can I
Jamboree
say
dates, we need to
something?
do
Yeah.
something.
I go down the parks on the weekends. They park much better in lacrosse than soccer.
Yeah, I agree. Soccer's,
I mean, we'll send an email out to the
No.
teams that are coming in with a copy of how we want them
yes,
to.
you do, the field maps
So
are
they
good,
see,
yeah.
the parents actually
Because
see it before they
they
even
have
get
the
there.
Yeah, no, you do a good job.
Events.
Where to park when you go to lacrosse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else from out, since we asked lacrosse also to come, does anybody else, I'd like to get my commission out of here. I think anything else on? I think we're good. Matt, no meeting will be this long ever. You good?
What'd you get yourself
Okay.
into, Matt?
Okay, yeah, Matt, if I get Matt's resignation tomorrow, I'm blaming everyone. Yeah. Let's see,
Thank you, everyone.
grounds and facilities, I think we've covered enough, right, Steve?
Yeah,
You wanna add
Thank you,
anything?
guys.
The
Thank you.
hockey
you
rink.
shouldn't leave nets on Wright's Pond because they're gonna sink now.
Oh,
Turn
God.
the mic on.
And,
Turn the mic on, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't leave things on Wright's Pond because they're gonna sink.
Sink.
And, the, parking lot at Turkey Hill Preserve is open now, too. They had a problem with ice, the
I saw
pond
it, yeah.
flowing out.
Onto the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it. I go by there to go to
Back
the
open,
gym.
Steve?
yeah,
Okay.
Oh, thank
We
you.
had a couple calls on that today,
Yeah.
so I'll make sure.
yeah, they took the barriers down today.
And the nice woman that's called the office the last 2 days, Turkey Hill Preserve is now open.
Yeah.
She's concerned about walking her dog. I didn't get her name, but
Yeah.
now she can.
There you go.
Very nice woman.
Okay, no, anything personnel, Dan?
No.
You wanna quickly do an abbreviated,
Director's report?
director's report?
Everything's here, guys. Obviously, I put in updated list of Park and Rec Commission members in here. Obviously, the ice skating rinks were safe a few days ago. They are not. Our new nice rink is up and going underneath the upper pavilion at High Plains. That was good for about 3 or 4 days. The weather now is not good, and it's gonna get warmer as the
Yeah.
week goes on, with a lot of rain tomorrow.
It looks good, though.
So, and tonight. It looks great, and I applaud Chris
Yeah.
and Bob and our whole seasonal crew
Yeah.
that put it together, along with the highway department and the fire department, helped with the water. So I'd like to thank everybody. It was a joint effort, and we just need some colder weather, hopefully next week and the week after, we get it back up and running. So it's there for the community, it's here for the town, so that's what it's there for. And hopefully it's all weather. It's all about the weather. The weather doesn't cooperate with ice cold weather. It's not gonna work that great, but it's gonna be better with the covering. So we're good there. That was a great suggestion from Kevin Capisolatro. So I'd like to
Yeah.
thank him for that suggestion as well. There's an aquatics report attached, as long as a programs report. If anybody has any questions, I don't wanna get into that, because we've been here long enough. And I thank you for everyone's patience
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
It was a good, productive meeting, so, it was needed to be done, and again, with the lacrosse, I am the mediator here as the director of the department, try to keep everybody happy with field usage, and that's why we did it tonight.
Yeah.
We did that for that reason, and I'm glad everybody came together and everybody's in agreement now, because that's what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And in terms of the field usage and the fees for the fertilization, we are all now on the same page, and I think everybody's happy now. So that's what needs to be done. I'm sorry that took an extra 10 to 15 minutes, but it needed to be done.
Thank you.
All right, and then unfortunately, as Jim said, and I'll sign off with this, Jim Ronay did resign today. He came into my office and gave me the letter. I want to read it quick, because he gives
Please.
some nice, some notes here for our department as well as the commission and the town. It was directed to Mr. Zioli, First Selectman Zioli, CC to myself. After many years serving as a member of the Park and Recreation Commission for the town of Orange, I'm writing to inform you that I am resigning from my position. I have enjoyed my time on the commission serving the people of Orange. Orange is and has always been a very special place for me and my family. I am happy to continue to be available to assist and volunteer for town functions and activities in the future. I am honored to have been considered to serve on this commission, appreciate the efforts of all the wonderful people associated with the Park and Recreation Department. They are truly a special group of people who do a tremendous job providing superlative programming and facilities to the people of Orange. Respectfully, Jim Ronay. So I'd like to thank Jim, all the years of service he put here on this commission. He's a big help in town. He was a volunteer coach for years in our basketball league, and I believe Orange Little League,
Yeah.
and
Ran-
probably soccer and
Still runs the
lacrosse.
Olympics, remember
Yes,
the?
he did say he was still gonna run the Orange Board of Education Olympics on the fairgrounds right before school gets out. He has a whole crew of people. He does it every year. He's
Yeah.
fantastic. He's
We're
gonna
lucky.
continue with that. And he told me to tell my staff and you as a commission, whatever you guys need, you can reach out to him. But he's just stepping down. He's
Yeah.
too busy with his work and his family, and I commend that. So I thank him.
So do I. Here, here. Thank you. Any commission members, anything to add? Motion to adjourn. First, second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you, everybody.